Guys, and welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode, I'm going to be talking about the ban list real quick. First of all, I literally just woke up and saw that there was an actual ban list, and I have to talk about it in particular because it's something that I have been wanting for quite a while. So, real quick, let's hop into the ban list. I clicked the wrong thing, didn't I? No, I didn't. Okay. Upcoming Forbidden and Limited list starts on July 9th. So, let's real quick talk about it. First of all, Hey Trunade. Oh my goodness gracious, they did it. They did it. They actually banned a card. First of all, thank you, Konami. I do believe that you are heading in the right direction by starting to ban problem cards. Next, give us back Contact to 2 and ban Sanctified. That's the issue. That's all you gotta do. Genuinely, it would change up the way that Dark Lords worked, and it would make it quite better. But that's just me shilling for Dark Lords. Let's talk about Hey Trunade and why this card needed to and is a good forbidden card. So, first of all, let's see what Konami said. This card will be forbidden as it leads to many cards having made or being made limited to prevent its use in decks which can easily win after using it. Exactly. This card oftentimes can go 1 for 3 in card advantage. If you don't know what card advantage is, basically it's how many cards are you getting either to your hand or onto the field, or changing from your opponent's field, right? So something like a Raigeki, if you don't know what that is, it destroys all monsters your opponent controls. In this game, a Raigeki can go 1 for 3, right? Because of the fact that Raigeki destroys all monsters, and if they have a full board of monsters, you can destroy all 3, right? Hey Trunade does very similar things, where it goes, you slap it down, they basically can't respond unless they are willing, unless they specifically have something that they need to protect, while also having a counter trap that can hit spells. Oftentimes people don't have a counter trap that can hit spells, right? Yes, if you're playing something like Parshath and you have a counter trap in your hand, then you can activate it. Or if you have something like, Ultimate Providence and you have a spell in hand, then you can activate it. But most of the time, you are still going 2 for 1, which overall is still a huge benefit for Hey Trunade. And realistically, this card is incredibly strong due to the fact that we have nothing that we can actually flip in response to Hey Trunade. Okay? So, a lot of decks right now are incredibly consistent. So, they have access to being able to play a card like Hey Trunade in their deck, and then just easily go off with, this side deck card and another side deck card in their hand that then can be utilized to prevent the opponent from actually playing the game, because they don't need to see a lot of their cards due to consistency boosting skills like Onomata Play or the Demon Resonance, right? With skills like that, or just like a small engine that's necessary, like it is with Harpies, right? So, with this being hit, now basically you have to play other weaker cards, and you're not going to have big blowouts, right? So, trap decks, or decks that utilize setting a few spells and traps to help get them through a turn or two, can now actually be played, and you don't have to focus so heavily on, first of all, you won't get sacked by Hey Trunade, but second of all, you won't have to focus on having a form of protection other than your spells and traps if you need to hold cards for your turn, right? Like it is with photons or something like that, right? So, all in all, I think that this is a great hit, and as they have mentioned, a lot of decks have had cards limited because of this card. Blackwings, as you'll see later on the list, things like things like Dragoonity, as you can see right here. Oops, I accidentally got rid of it. But, you know, there are a ton of cards that have been limited because of this. I think Gagaga Sister was probably limited as well due to Hey Trunade. So there's just a ton of things that Hey Trunade prevented in general. So I'm super glad that this was hit. I'm glad that Konami is willing to start banning cards that are problem cards, especially since I think this is the first ban of an SR card as well. But I do believe, hopefully, that with this, they will be able to also ban Treacherous Trap Hole. I do think that that card's insane, but that's just me. I also like that they really didn't hit any other cards. This is the only hit. Everything else is unlimits. And as you will see by the rest of this, it's pretty good. There's some pretty good unlimits. So first of all, we have Dragoonity Knight Ascalon. This was basically on the list simply so that Dragoonity couldn't play Hey Trunade. That was it. Honestly, Dragoonity doesn't do anything unless they sack you with Hey Trunade. Now they have to play more cards like Cosmic Cyclone and Mystical Space Typhoon in order to be able to go into their combo. Now, granted, their combo is pretty good, right? Ascalon is an insane card. If it gets destroyed, it special summons Dragoonity monsters or Dragoonity Synchro monsters onto the field, right? Which allows them to go back into Dragoonity Ascalon on the next turn. So if you only have the out to one Ascalon, it can be an issue. And if they are able to set up multiple Ascalons, all of a sudden you're in dire straits, because now what do? You've got two Ascalons staring you down, like, hey, you got to deal with two of us without destroying, which can be a big issue. But overall, if you stop their combo, they're a lot less powerful. And now that Hey Trunade is banned, if you have, if they're able to have their combo, which basically would require two cards of their own archetype, as well as you could have two other cards. If, say, for example, you were to set three, and they have two removal spells, like a Mystical Space Typhoon and a Cosmic Cyclone, they remove two, and then they summon up their monster, all of a sudden, you still have a way to interact with your opponent. That's what I love about this Hey Trunade ban, is either the opponent is going to brick because they're going to draw 3 spell and trap removal, and then at that point it doesn't really matter that they're able to remove all of your back row, or they are going to have their combo, but you are still going to have some sort of interruption, right? Hey Trunade, I think, can come off the list as soon as we get something that can be flipped in response to a Hey Trunade. Something like a Skill Drain or a Tikaboo or anything, right? Anything that is a continuous spell or trap that is a floodgate. Right now, Hey Trunade still can't do that. Anyway, sorry, I went back to Hey Trunade. I just wanted to make that point real quick. Moving on, we have Cyber Angel Dakini is now off of the list. Happy day! Cyber Angels have been really terrible for a really long time. They were tier 0, now they are not definitively. They are pretty bad, but this will add at least some consistency to the deck and make it playable once again. This card has been unlimited as Hey Trunade has been forbidden. I genuinely don't believe that this one should have been limited due to Hey Trunade, because of the fact that also Cyber Angel Ritual has been limited to 2 as well for quite some time for various other reasons, but mostly due to the fact that it was paired alongside Dakini, and that way you could only play 1 and 1. But now, I genuinely don't think that this was a Hey Trunade unlimit. If that was the case, then Konami is just actually trolling us and saying that Dakini was an issue, even though it wasn't because of Hey Trunade. So, there's that. I love it. I think that this is great. This is a great direction for Konami, and this card in particular was definitely an issue, and probably preventing Dakini in Konami's eyes. I don't think that that was really an issue. If Dakini were to be unlimited, would they still have even played Hey Trunade? No. I don't think so. I wouldn't have played it with the Hey Trunade. Anyway, moving on, we have Assault Armor. Yeah, this is fine. It allows for an extra attack, right? A warrior monster gains 300 attack, and you gain another attack during the battle phase. Pretty weak. And last but not least, Dyna. We now can have for hire Dyna locks. What does that mean? Well, basically, you can have 2 of these on the field, and then your opponent can't attack either one. That's it. That's all it is. It's very similar to the Watt lock, if you know Watt Grasshopper. It basically makes it so that your opponent can't target any card except for that card. However, if you get 2 of them, all of a sudden your opponent can't target anything on the field. Or any Watts, I think, on the field. But we have a lot of ways to deal with for hire Dyna, because now this is only attacks, right? So, realistically, you could just use a spell or trap of any kind. Or you could destroy it before they get the second one out. Or you could interrupt them in a myriad of ways. Or you could just have a bigger body and deck them out. Or, you know, there are a myriad of ways to do this. Or you could negate their effect. Or you could... There are a ton of ways to deal with this now. And I think that realistically this coming back to the meta is a good sign. For hires were also a... I don't think they were tier 0, but they were up there as like a very dominant deck. Very similar to like Dark Lords at the time. And yeah, it's good to see that they are coming back because realistically, they're not all that powerful. So, overall, I think that this ban list has been one of the best that Konami has implemented. It is a simple forbidden hit to a card that was basically the issue for a lot of other decks, as well as a lot of unlimits to make cards and decks more powerful and more playable. So, that's going to be it for this episode. I know that I've kind of been rambling, but I just figured I need to get this video out as soon as possible. So there you go. I hope that you guys did indeed enjoy. If you did, a like is very much appreciated. And if you want to check out more content like this, as well as more Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links action, then just be sure to subscribe. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye.